Oh, Monday Night Football, you think? Lock the door, don't let the wifey in the house. We're going to watch this game. Eagles, Chiefs, Jalen Hurts versus a defense. Nobody talks about Kansas City's defense. It's always about Mahomes and Kelsey and Swift. Kansas City's defense has given them 288 yards a game.
Wow.
31 sacks. I mean, that's really impressive.
Mm.
Now, that is Jalen Hurts across the line of scrimmage from them. And you got Mahomes going against Philadelphia's tough guy defense. Nobody runs the football against the Eagles, the number one in the league. Philadelphia's got 30 quarterback sacks. So I think that's going to be a really good game. Ravens, Bengals. Joe Burrow's torn ligament, wrist. We were watching this one together. Third major injury in 4 years. Some of it is freakish, some of it's flukish, some of it's because they still don't have a really great offensive line around him. Ravens had 5 quarterback sacks in the game, and now Burrow is gone. Third major injury in 4 years. Rams, Seattle. Man, that was a violent game. Both starting quarterbacks got knocked out of the game with heavy hits. They both came back at the end. Seahawks self-destructed. 12 penalties for 130 yards. What is Pete Carroll's team doing? Matthew Stafford, he took a shot in the chest that thought knock his heart out. He came back in the game at the end. He led him to 2 touchdown drives and a field goal drive in about a 6-minute span. That was pretty impressive. Miami Raiders. Well, the big question, Raiders played with great passion against bad clubs. What would happen when they played somebody good? Well, Tua went up and down the field for the Dolphins. 325 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, 10 catches, $146. Now, they didn't put a lot of scores into the end zone. Raiders kind of played pretty gritty. Aiden O'Connell had 3 interceptions, the Raiders rookie quarterback. Raiders only had 46 yards rushing. I thought they had to run the football to keep Tua off the field. That being said, it was only 1-score game. So I guess there's a moral accomplishment there for the Raiders, but Miami won. Lions losing to the Bears, and sometimes you think Sunday to Sunday, well, did you spend everything in the gas tank last Sunday when they punched the Chargers in the mouth? Because they didn't look like the same team against the lowly Bears, but Jared Goff led them on a comeback. 2 touchdowns and a safety in the final 3 minutes of the game. Detroit marches on. Chicago goes home with another loss. And then Houston, Arizona. C.J. Stroud, 3rd straight big statistical week. The Texans beat Arizona. Stroud goes for 336 and a couple of touchdowns. Something else that nobody's talking about in Houston. They got a running back who, if he was doing this in Buffalo, he'd still be in Buffalo, and the Bills would be better. Devin Singletary was a really high draft pick about 3 years ago and did not do very much with the Bills. He's had back-to-back 100-plus yard games. He ran for 112 yesterday. So, John, there where you are. We got Monday Night Football, the Burrow curse, Rams, Seattle, Raider Nation, and C.J. Stroud. Pick a name, pick a topic. Tell me what you think.
Well, I was watching the Rams-Seahawks game, and when Geno Smith got hurt, if I recall, the Seahawks were down, and he had his elbow all wrapped up, and he was trying to pass the ball on the sidelines, couldn't do it. And you could tell that he was so frustrated. He really wanted to get back in that game and win it. And their backup quarterback was the guy they got in the trade from
Drew
Denver.
Lock.
Yeah, Lock. He didn't do anything. And so Smith was just chomping at the bit to get back in there, but they just didn't have enough to win that game.
Well, he did get back in the game. I'm giving him a lot of courage for going out there with what appears to be maybe a bruised elbow, because I think his arm went numb, and that's why he couldn't do it. But then I think the feeling came back, and they put the wrap on it, and he came back. And I don't know if you saw the Stafford hit. Holy cow. He took a shot face on into the chest. And I couldn't believe, A, he got up, B, went to the sideline, C, came back in the game, and then D, let him down the field.
Well, what about the Chicago-Detroit game? I mean, I know Detroit had the big comeback at the end, but there's been a lot of heat on Justin Fields. Now, did he have a good game? Was he performing? But it sounds like their defense is what screwed up.
Well, I think he threw for 106 and he ran for 114. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he didn't turn the ball over. But at the end of the day, they don't have a lot of offense in Chicago. If that quarterback isn't doing dazzling things, they're not competitive. That's not a real good offensive football team. And, the rule book says you got to play 60 minutes against Dan Campbell's team, and Dan Campbell's team plays 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, they they didn't look right in the beginning. They looked gassed. They weren't what they were the prior weekend when they played the Chargers in that game. But boy, they hitched it up at the end. And how about C.J. Stroud? I mean, now everybody is just, first of all, Houston's got 6 wins. This is down in the dumps Houston. This is talentless Houston. This is failing front office Houston. And now all the free agents they signed, and Singletary, who they saw something that Buffalo couldn't get out of him, they're getting it out of him. And C.J. Stroud is just putting up phenomenal numbers.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrific. It's a great story because the people weren't sure if he had the mental ability to be a good quarterback. He clearly has got the brain power to do it. The kind of a side story on that whole thing is that when the Chargers moved to LA and we were all frustrated, my son adopted the Arizona Cardinals as his team. And boy, that's been a terrible experience. Then my son moves to Houston and we're thinking, oh, you're doomed again. You're going to have another crappy team to follow. And now, hey, the Texas, the Houston Texans are a fun team to root for. So I'm kind of happy for him in Houston.
Yeah, Stroud is really special.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he has made such an arrival with what was supposed to be a rebuilding year. They had we talked about this when training camps open. It's like a whole new team, whole new roster. They're bringing guys in everywhere. I think they led the league in street free agents signed. They got 6 wins right now.
Yeah, DeMeco Ryans, coach of the year, maybe.
Exactly. Okay, you got a pro football comment? Feel free to jump on board. Fans Forum chat box is open. We go from that.